Fine, let's start with the next session, next lecture session of object-oriented system design. This is structured design. In the earlier session, lecture session, we did the structured analysis. In structured analysis, just a review back, we studied what are the diagrammatic notations we use in structured analysis. They were like DFDs, that is data flow diagram, decision table, data dictionary, then state transition machine and ER diagrams, right? So we have learned a few of them, how we are going to draw these particular designs and diagrams. Now we come to structured designs. In structured design, I told you in the earlier session also that what we are going to do in the design phase, we have two types of diagrammatic notations. We have already understood why we are using structured design. The main aim of using structured analysis and structured design were it improves the quality and it reduces the risk of system failure, right? And it also enhances the flexibility, the maintainability, and the reliability of the software we are designing. So in this particular phase, the two types of diagram we are going to work on are the first one is called as the structure chart and second one is also called as the pseudocode. Now, first we are going to work on with the structure chart. Basically, a structure chart is a detailed version of DFD, we can say. What does it do? It specifies how DFD's processes are grouped into a task and allocate to the CPUs. Now, before working on to the structure chart, we should work on with the DFDs so that we can find out what all were missing in the data flow diagram so that we can include it in the structure chart and group them into a task and allocate to the processing unit, right? Next one is pseudocode. When we talk about pseudocode, it is the actual implementation of the system we are talking about. In the design, we have created the algorithm, and now we are going to see how the pseudocode looks like. It just looks like the code, right? We will discuss it in further slides, what actually it is, right? So let's talk about structure chart first. I told you what it is. It is kind of a more detailed version of a DFD. Now in this, we describe functions and sub-functions of each part of a system. Now in this particular, if a system has, let's say, specific functions, those particular functions are described and they are further described according to the sub-functions also. Then what we do, we call it as modularization. What is modularization? We are breaking up a particular whole system into small modules which are easily developed and designed. So what we need to do is we have to show the relationships between common and unique modules of a computer program. Next thing is we have to work on according to the hierarchy, right? We are working on as the hierarchical structure plus the modular structure. In this particular, we have each layer. When we talk about hierarchy means we are going to have a layer, right? This is like the complete system divided into modules, and these particular modules further divided into sub-modules this way, right? So this forms the hierarchical structure. Now in this hierarchical structure, we have layers. Like here we have 1, 2, and 3 layers. All these particular layers in a program are specifying the activities. What activities are they going to perform? And each of the modules specifies the functions. So we need to understand that module will specify what functions will be performed, and in layer we define or specify which activities are going to be performed, right? Now next one is how we are going to draw the structure chart. What are the steps for this? So first of all, as I told you earlier, that before starting up with the structure chart designing, we need to work on to the DFDs. So we need to review the DFD so that we can find out all the missing functions and modules in the system. Second one, we need to identify all the modules and the relationships, if at all they are missing, and if any new module is created. Next, we have to define the add couples, loops, and conditions. What were the conditions? Conditions were, as we did in decision table. Loops are when we have iterations. You know, you have learned about if then else loop, do while loop, and so on and so forth, for loop. And the third thing is the couples. Now, what is this couples? We have to add couples. I'll just elaborate it on further with the help of a diagram also. But couples is what these we are here. We are talking about the data couples. That means the binding of two modules. How two modules are interacting with each other. They are interacting with each other with the help of certain data. So that particular bonding and that particular interaction between them is called as the data coupling, right? That means coupling means getting together, right? And getting together here means they are interacting to each other. They are dependent on each other. So how they are dependent? They are dependent as the data is being passed and flown among these particular modules, right? Let's say we are going to design a payroll system. So to design or to define the payroll system, to calculate the amount of pay for the paychecks, what we need to get the data from the database of employee, right? Employee detail. So here the particular process, that is calculation of salary, calculation of payroll, is dependent on the database. It needs to communicate with that particular database so that the employee detail can be fetched and then the calculation can take place. So this is what these two modules are interacting with each other. These two entities are interacting with each other. So that is what we have defined here is data couples. Now, next thing is we need to analyze the structure, that is structure chart, the DFDs and the data dictionaries. So the main aim is we need to review the DFDs, identify the modules and relationships, and add what? Couples, loops, and conditions, right? Now we are going to see in any type of diagrams, we need to understand the notations which are used for the diagram of that particular specification. Here we are talking about structure chart. So we are working on the notations of structure chart. What we are using here, certain specifications. First one is called as the modules. Second one is called as the conditions. Third one as loops. Fourth one, data couples, and fifth one is control couples. Now we know modules are what? These are sequential logic. What are conditions? Conditions are decision where we say if this condition applies, then the result will be this. If, then, right? Else, this is the condition. Loops are the iterative logic which I told you. Number of loops we have done in C, you must have done. Data couples, I already told you what are data couples. Now, what we have to do is we are going to represent the module with the help of a rectangular box. With the help of a rectangle box, we are going to define the module. Control modules are defined as the branch to submodules with the help of main line in this way. This is how we are going to show the control modules. Next, we have library module. Library modules are the modules which are reusable and they can be invoked. And these modules are shown as these particular rectangular boxes with double lines on the sides. So this will tell you a specific module, a general module. This is the control modules, how they invoke or talk to each other, and this is the library module, right? Now let's see how the structure charts are being designed. See, here we are going to show you how modules work. This is the module which is the specific module, and this module is further divided into 3 modules, that is being one module as 1.1, module 1.2 and module 1.3. Now, this module is called as the control module. Why this module is called as the control module? Because it has the main branch line with the help of which it is divided into subordinate modules, and these modules are called as the subordinate modules, right? Because they are decomposed from this particular control module. That means the control of these two modules can be invoked from here. Next, we have the library module. This 1.3, as I told you, this is how we represent the library module, a rectangular box at the double line at the ends. So this module, library module, is a reusable module, first of all. As we have seen, certain files are stored in library, and you can call those particular files and call those, certain functions are defined in library, and we can call those particular functions. So those particular functions which are already stored in library are the reusable module, reusable functions. So similarly, we have the library module. That means this particular module is termed to be as the reusable module. This module can be reused and can be invoked by any of the modules, right? Reused. So that is the working of control module and library module and subordinate module. I think you must have understood regarding this. Now we talk about the data couple, how the data couple is being shown out here. Now see, let's say we have a customer data maintenance, and then we have lookup customer name. That means for certain reason, we need to look up for a name of the customer. Let's say we have received an order and I want to get into the detail of the customer name. I have just got the phone number and I will get the name and the address from that particular data. So here what we are using, I need to fetch the name of the customer. So the data couple is the data is being traveling. The dependency of data is what? Customer name. I will fetch the data and this particular is received. So this is what these are called as the data couple, the passing of data between the two modules, which is formed as the dependency statement, right? With the help of which it is completely dependent on each other. So this is how the data couple is defined. Now next one is how the condition and condition lines are defined. Let's see here, one more thing. When we say that a particular module, subordinate module is being invoked by a control module. Here I have already told you this is called as the control module, right? And these three, this one, and this one are called as the subordinate modules, right? Which are decomposed from the main module branch lines. And this is called as the control module. Now you can see a diamond box out here. This means what? This control module can invoke any of these subordinate modules whenever and wherever required. So this diamond box shows the invoking process, right? Invoke. This is how it is going to invoke the subordinate module. This is the representation of invoke, right? Now, see, we have seen here, we have an example of calculate pay amount routine, right? In this, we are going to just design a structure chart at a very basic level. First of all, we have a complete system module that is called as calculate pay amount. Now, this particular calculate pay amount is divided or decomposed, I would say, into sub modules. So this is first thing, it is a control module, right? Now, what are the subordinate modules? These four are the subordinate modules, S, S, and S. What are these? See, with the help of this complete process, I have decomposed into four tasks which are easily can be accomplished. Calculate base amount, first of all. Then I'll calculate the overtime amount. Then I'll calculate the taxes for the employee. And then I'll calculate the deduction. And then finally, I'll get the, with the help of these, I'll get the complete amount of pay. Now see, for the calculate base amount, what I need is, I need the basic pay of that particular employee, of all the employees for which I have to calculate. I need the hours they have worked. I need the job category in which they fall. That means the department or whatever it is. So I need the base pay, that is from this way. This is the direction of data couple. I need hours and job category from this. That is what we have the calculate pay. Next, for calculating the overtime, what I need is we have to define the overtime and get the total number of hours. For calculate taxes, I need to get the dependents, and this will be giving the calculation of taxes to this, right? It will receive the calculation of taxes. Next, calculate other deductions. What it needs is it will get the deduction information regarding the same, and what it will give back, the deduction amount. So finally, what it will receive the basic pay. See, in this direction, it will receive the basic pay. Then it will receive the overtime amount. Then it will receive the taxes, and then receive the deduction amount. So with the help of all these four things, it is going to calculate the final pay amount, right? And this is the information which is required by this one to calculate the final version of this one. So this flowing of data from one subordinate to control module is called as what? It is defined as the data coupling, right? Dependency of data as required by the modules. Now, if I just, give the detailed format and give it more detailed structure chart, then it will be like in this manner. So we have, it's like produce payroll program. This is the one. So this is hierarchical. First level. In the second level, we have defined the enter time cards, calculate amounts, and output payroll. Now further, this particular enter time cards had been further divided into three: enter employee time card, read employee record, validate time card. For calculation of amounts, it has get employee pay rates, calculate pay amounts. Then output payroll is further divided into update employee record, write payroll transactions, update general ledger. And finally, the calculate pay amount is further divided into these, which I have shown you in the earlier section, this one, right? So earlier section, we have done only this particular part. And this has a various version of the elaborated form of this, right? Now here you can see the arrows, how the data is being traveled from which direction to which direction. And this is what this is defined as all the subordinate modules, and this particular is called as the control module. For this particular subordinate modules, this is considered as the control module, and same as it goes for the other. So this is the hierarchical structure of the payroll system, in which we have designed the structure chart with the help of modules, control module, submodule, library module, data coupling, control coupling, and invoking of functions. So I hope you must have understood this. Next, we have pseudocode. See, pseudocode is nothing new. It is little bit different. See, we have three things. One is called as the algorithm. You all know what is algorithm, right? Then we have the pseudocode. And lastly, we have the source code, right? We all are aware of algorithm, that is the logical sequence of the solving of a particular task. Pseudocode, I'll just tell you right now. And source code is the implementation of code in a particular specific language, is called as the source code. But pseudocode is a structured code which will give you a feel like structure how the code will be implemented, but it is not written in any specific programming language, right? That is the difference between the pseudocode and the source code. So somewhere pseudocode is lying between the algorithm and the source code. Algorithm has the complete natural English language in which it is written. Source code is completely coded in a specific language, that is programming language, while pseudocode gives you a feel like of code and the logic, but it is not being implemented in a specific programming language. So here I have taken an example. If we are solving a quadratic equation, so what will be the pseudocode of this? So pseudocode of this will be this, that is begin. I'm not saying how we are going to start, how we are going to include the library functions or whatever it is. Then how we initialize the variables, how we input the value, that is not being defined. That will be implemented according or designed in the code according to the type of, yeah, which programming language we are going to use. But here we have just defined that the numbers are these and input are taken as this. And then we have a if condition. This is the quadratic equation. We have if condition defined with else condition. Again, nested if condition is there within this. And then finally, I'll get the output and end of this code, right? So this is called as the pseudocode, right? So that's all for this particular lecture. I think this is clear to you all.